defensive backs and safeties on an island, and that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was like they gave them that because there's
crazy.
nothing for the Jets. They just don't want to lose Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that's the way I look at that. So,
Yeah.
but hey,
Yeah.
talk about your wild moments.
Hmm.
How about the hoodie? The man proves it again.
Yep.
45 zip. Now, they did it on special teams with blocking punts, kicks, whatever. I mean, but he's doing it without a defense. They have no offense, so special teams had to do it.
Still in the hunt, too.
Yeah.
Well, their defense played well. I mean, you look at how hot Herbert was since he started week 2, and they essentially shut him out. He had around 200 yards, 2 interceptions. And obviously they didn't score any points. But to be fair, the big difference is and I think this goes even beyond Anthony Lynn, who also will be out of job at the end of this year. They are awful on special teams. Chargers have been for multiple years, and Patriots, yeah, like Lug said, like that was the difference. Is everyone who ever forgets the third phase of the game, that's a game to bring up because they won predominantly because defense and special teams. Like Cam Newton, and to be fair, their offense is great. To be fair to Cam Newton, though, he didn't need to do anything yesterday. Like,
right.
So,
A W is the W. Go ahead.
Then the other Seattle, New York Giants. Did you think that we had ever say in this season that the Giants and Washington would be the 2 teams to watch out for in the NFC East?
No. I mean, they sacked poor Russell 6 times, man.
And they're doing it with backup, Colt McCoy.
That Colt McCoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Jones is out.
I didn't even realize he was still in football. So that lets you know.
He had that show back in the day, The Real McCoy. You maybe remember that.
Oh.
But think about this: backup quarterback and also backup running back, because obviously Saquon's been out since week 2. So Wayne Gallman with a huge day. He had 130 yards rushing. I think they ended up running for 190 on the day of the Giants. And to be fair, even though their record isn't that good, if you kind of look back through all the games, Giants have been in pretty much every game. So
True.
I give a lot of credit to Judge. I think I was probably harsh on him from the jump, but like they have played hard for him, and like particularly on defense, they're a tough out. So they definitely are the most deserving, I think, of the teams in the East to make the playoffs, even though record-wise, none of them probably really.
Yeah.
So the Seahawks stock is down, and T-Dog, I got to call you out on this. You had Russell Wilson penciled in as MVP this year. I think that just got erased off your score sheet. Is that about right?
The last few weeks, unfortunately, he's now out. I mean, it's either Mahomes or Rodgers, and I'd put Rodgers in the lead right now. It's one of those two.
Popular choice.
But Rodgers, they have to win some playoff games, I would say. And speaking of Mahomes, wow, that Denver game.
Yeah.
They're in the red zone 4 times and 4 field goals. That was crazy to me because they were just moving it up and down the field at will. They were lucky to win that thing. I was impressed for the first time with Drew Lock. He had some passes that were really good. And Melvin Gordon, whatever his issues have been, for one game, he played really well.
Yeah. Again, J-Boy could tell you, I mean, I don't know if he's a great head coach, but Fangio, when it comes to defense, he really understands teams' tendencies. And, like, again, they did a good job. Yeah, like you said, in the red zone. The one thing that was really impressive is they did a good job of swatting the ball down in the red zone. Shelby Harris, their defensive lineman, he had 2 that he swatted down in particular.
That man has, like, 6-foot arms. It's crazy.
And think about this. Denver played like a perfect defense. And even with all the great things we said about them, that there was a touchdown early that Tyreek Hill caught and he didn't tell him to challenge, which they would have won. And Tyreek Hill had another big one that they luckily for Denver, there was a holding call. So there's two huge pass plays that could have ended up making that game look completely different. And also, got to give props to Tyrann Mathieu. What a way to bookend. I think on the first offensive drive, he had a pick, and to ice the game, he had a pick on Drew Lock. So Tyrann Mathieu, huge game.
Honey Badger.
Yep.
So what else, guys? Other games you liked? There's some good ones. Good week.
I thought the Colts Texans game was a great game. And
that was a gift. That center. How much do you think that Indianapolis is paying that guy at this point? And I don't know if we'll see him next week or not.
I don't know how good he can feel because Deshaun Watson was so devastated. He didn't even. Yeah, I mean, you saw after the game, Philip Rivers was looking for Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson was on the bench with a
towel over his head.
T.Y. had to go over and shake his hand to kind of wake him up.
Texans are devastated, aren't they? They're just devastated.
I will say, I will use this as a point. It's for two things. And actually, these two games tie together on some way. And Lugs will like this because I'm gonna rag on someone he doesn't like, who I've defended in past. Watson showed why he is an elite quarterback because you look at they lost Will Fuller to suspension, they lost Randall Cobb to injury, they cut Kenny Stills, so they're down to Kiki QT and the fourth Hanson brother. I guess he didn't decide to do music. He didn't have 100 yards receiving. Kiki QT had 140 yards receiving, even though he's surrounded by a bunch of guys who are second on the depth chart level players. He almost won against a Colts team that probably will win the division, at the very least will make the playoffs. He kept them in it. Inversely, Carson Wentz, I mean, I know they're devastated with injuries, but if he's supposed to be elite talent, he helps elevate those guys around him, and he didn't do that. And I understand why they maybe want to look at Jalen Hurts for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So,
see, I'm predicting they're going to offload Carson Wentz one way or the other. And I think they will go for a quarterback in the draft. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the fit either, really. He had a spark there, and if you gave him some time, maybe he could develop.
Yeah.
But Wentz is done. I mean, they've given it – this is fifth year, right? I mean, he's 27, 28, whatever he is.
Yeah.
What he is what he is. He's not going to develop anymore.
And again, I'm not going to really be an apologist now for Carson Wentz, but going back to the Colts-Texans game, and I think we've hit this point before, and I think a lot of people hit this point before. You watch some of the touchdowns that the Colts had yesterday, man, Frank Wright comes off more and more like he was the brains of that operation on offense for the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl.
You're right.
Oh, yeah.
Because the T.Y. Hilton touchdown, it was a crossing route where he came from the wide side, and Burton essentially did a pick on the defender, so he was wide open.
But it was clean. It was a nice pick, man.
But that's what I'm saying. It's that's design and execution, and that's Frank Wright. And you watch Carson Wentz, and I'm not apologizing for him. You watch they're all sandlot. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to their offense at all.
Oh no, he's just back there. I mean, he's not going through any progression. He's just kind of his head's on a swivel, looking for somebody to throw to it, and he's keeping it too long.
Yeah, and I think to be fair to what you're saying, Les, I think some of that is on him, but I think there is a decent portion of that is I think Peterson deserves to be on the hot seat too, because that offense has looked substantially bad since Frank Wright took the head coaching job in Indianapolis.
I just got a call from the intern staff. Wentz has been in the league since 16, North Dakota State, and he's 27 years old. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Well,
some background information.
I'm thinking that he is perfect for Chicago.
Hey.
Chicago, what is that product that they're putting on the field? I mean, come on.
Manure. No, that's what that is.
They're just trying to grow better grass.
Yeah. Got to do something with that Park District grass there. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah,
it's sad.
It's sad.
I mean, because they've got $1 million defense and then a 12-cent offense.
Well, their defense didn't play that well either. They look like nickel and dime defense.
Yeah, I think they're just tired of being on the field. I mean, how long?
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think that there is truth to that. I think they're tired of carrying.
It's So where's our boy from Detroit? Where's he? Matthew Stafford. Where's he going to wind up? San Francisco?
I don't know.
He's a good player.
He is a good player, and I just find it. I kind of like what Lugs is talking about. I do find it fascinating. Last year's offseason with quarterbacks was interesting. I do think it's true, like what Lugs said. Carson will maybe get offloaded.
Yeah.
I think Stafford. I don't know if his contract is coming to an end. I know Wentz has like a few years left. He just signed a big contract.
Stafford, I believe, will be a free agent at the end of this year.
Maybe go to Indy.
Stafford,
possibly. I mean, because like
he could fit in well there.
A lot of gas in that tank yet, I think.
Yeah, or actually, to be fair, because of Frank Wright, maybe they reclamate Carson Wentz.
Yeah,
true.
I mean,
maybe so.
There's the background there, but it is fascinating because there are going to be some quarterbacks that I think still have some gas in the tank. And even though they re-signed Kirk Cousins, you know how much that Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan, my bad. Kyle Shanahan loves Kirk Cousins. Maybe they make a deal for him if the Vikings, for whatever reason, sour on Kirk Cousins. Yeah. I don't know why. He played well yesterday, bringing them to 500 and getting them in.
They're in the picture.
The picture for the playoffs. So,
and we know Mitchell Trubisky has signed a contract to play with the Saskatchewan Roughriders as the third stringer next year. That just broke. I just got that now. So if you want to use that,
cool.
I still believe.
No, you don't.
If he goes, what?
That he's salvageable?
Well, not by Chicago. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if he goes, like, let's say he goes to Sean McVay and or there's someone who actually can create an offense that's worth a damn, and he has years to kind of incubate. I'm not saying he's ever going to be a world-renowned starter, but I think he could have like a solid career. I just think he went to such a poor situation, and something you always see that. I don't know. I don't think he was ever going to live up to where he was drafted, but I think he could be a solid backup.
Now, if you want to go to a place where you can salvage a quarterback, you go to New Orleans. Taysom Hill had a hell of a game.
He did.
Because Sean Payton knows how to play to his strengths.
Got to eat crow on that one, don't we? A little bit.
A little bit.
I mean,
a little bit.
He had a good passing day. He didn't have to just run with the ball. Hey, they've won every game. And so
he's beaten two bad Atlanta teams, and he beat a Denver team where they had a wide receiver as quarterback. I'm not saying he's not talented. I'll eat crow. He's played solid, but
all you got to do is look on that right column. It says W.
I know, but that's what Tim Tebow had, and you saw how quickly Denver dumped him.
Yeah, he's batting 220 in Double-A ball right now, Tebow. On the one knee. I don't know how that works, the pose.
Yeah. I would like to say one thing.
Please, would you just say one thing? Yeah.
Yeah, we need one thing.
I want to shout out to Coach Scotty Davenport and the Bellarmine Knights. They did play Duke. It was an interesting thing for them. I think they had they made the Sports Center, which is the first time for the Bellarmine Knights. And then they went from there and playing Howard University. So to kick off their first year in straight up D1, you got to give it to them. I mean, you're not going to beat Duke, but I heard Scotty on another show, and he was talking about how well they were treated and how it was just those kids will never forget playing in Cameron. They won't. So shout out to them.
All right. We'll give them a shout out there. We'll also say that Sports and Other Stuff is sponsored in part by Rudy's Furniture Mart. They sold Coastal Carolina that turf, the remnants.
All right.
Yeah, it was a liquidation sale. They have to liquidate to the bare walls. Once you're in the store, you want to stop in and ask for